Let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the rhino in the room.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Everyone's trashing Kraven the Hunter right now, saying it's one of the worst comic book movies ever. Letterboxd, Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, your mama's probably trashing it. But I'm here to tell you, it's not that bad. Is it great? No, but it's not the disaster it's painted out to be. Let's dive in. Aaron Taylor Johnson stars as Sergei Kravenov, aka Kraven the Hunter. After a life-changing accident gives him animal-like powers, he turns his rage towards the underworld of drug dealers, murderers, and poachers. The film delivers a serviceable origin story for Kraven the Hunter. While it is a little silly, a lot of silly really, the movie sets up how he got his powers, his family dynamic, and what his general motives and the way he moves through life really well. At its heart, Kraven is a family drama. Russell Crowe plays Sergei's toxic, overbearing father, a criminal kingpin who cruelty pushes Sergei away and leaves his younger brother Dmitri vulnerable. Russell Crowe's acting in this one is fine. He kind of seems like he's sleepwalking through a lot of the film, but he does a good enough job of playing this villainous patriarchy that's overbearing and toxic as hell, and you can see why both these kids in this movie are messed up. Fred Hetchenberg is Dmitri, Kraven the Hunter's younger brother that basically feels like he's left behind. He is not the killer that his brother and his father is. He's not the tough guy. He becomes a very sympathetic part of the film, and you can see Kraven really cares about him, and they really have good chemistry that makes you really care about that core of that story between them and that brotherly love. And when Dmitri gets kidnapped, this plot leans on the tried and true tropes of a revenge action thriller. A one-man army fighting through a horde of villains trying to complete his goal. The movie is just enhanced with the character having superpowers and a bunch of comic book lore spread throughout. While the story is very predictable, you can see the beats coming from a mile away. It stays intriguing because of the character's chemistry and also the symbolism that is used throughout the movie. Each character in this movie embodies a different animal and represents a different animal in the film and their characteristics, and that really tells the story of the dynamics of each character, why they're the way they are. The father being the lion, the son kind of being a lizard and being scared of the father who's the lion, and Kraven is kind of just like his father in the lioness way, even though he doesn't want to be. The way their dynamic is, and the way they are with other characters, even the rhino or even other characters that has animalistic tendencies, it really paints a picture there where that they weave that really well, and I was very surprised. Unlike most Sony Spider-Man projects, this movie found a way to avoid major plot holes or just cringeworthy moments that make you scratch your head trying to figure out how the hell did this reach your local cinema. That said, the movie is definitely not flawless at all. It is a Sony Spider-Man movie after all. The pacing can be sluggish in certain parts, especially the middle of the film. The CGI is inconsistent, but not terrible at all at any point. And some of the dialogue does lead into the cheesy territory, but it feels like a cheesy 80s, 90s action movie in that way. And Sony's trademark bad ADR use makes an appearance in this film, unfortunately, but at least it's not as bad as this.
But in the future, less than nothing. I will not give up.
Ride public transportation, go to a museum.
And even if you're not convinced with all the acting, or you're not super engaged with all the characters and the dynamics in the story like I was, what will keep you engaged is the visual action. This movie earns its R rating with brutal sequences with throat slashing, piercing, nose biting, fingers getting chopped off. This movie is way more violent than I expected. I know it was in the trailer, but it's even more violent in the film than it was in the trailer, which was a pleasant surprise. It really roused up my crowd. It may even made me wince a couple times watching it. Fights are well choreographed. You can see everything that's happened. The editing is not chopped up where you can't tell what's going on. There's no shaky cam. It's really competent in that way, and the stunts are really great. They do a really great job of making the characters look like they're really doing it with minimal CGI. Surprisingly, Kraven the Hunter weaves comic book lore in this film way more effective than I expected. Ariana DeBose plays a compelling and comic accurate depiction of a character named Calypso, who's essential to Kraven the Hunter's rise into the iconic character that we know and love. Their dynamic is another central part of the film. It was really sweet. I thought they were going to try to force like a romance storyline there, but luckily they did it, and it was more of a partnership, and I appreciated that. Alessandro Novo's Rhino is, well, in a different movie from everyone else. This man did not understand the tone that the other actors understood, or maybe he understood the tone that the movie was supposed to be and they didn't, because he's having the time of his life. He was grunting, making noises, acting weird. It was severely entertaining watching him play this version of the character. He was still kind of like creepy and menacing in a way, because you were worried about what he was going to do and how he was puppeteering things, but some of the choices he made, some of the acting choices he made was outright hilarious, and some of the funniest moments intentionally and unintentionally in the film. The movie even found a way to squeeze in some deep cut Spider-Man villains and other characters in the film without making it feel super duper forced. They kind of do the thing where everybody's related, but I didn't really mind it this time because, you know, let's slim down some of this stuff and get it going, you know what I mean? Despite the positives to me overcoming the negatives, I can't tell you to go rush out and watch Kraven the Hunter, because the movie doesn't bring anything super fresh to the comic book genre. It's probably the best of all these Spider-Man spin-off films in terms of just being a competent film with a competent plot with competent actors and none of the, like, a minimum amount of the nonsense that you get in a lot of these films that Sony has been making. But that's not enough for me to tell you to spend your hard-earned cash to go check it out and not see another one of the great films that are probably out this weekend. If you are a Regal Unlimited member or a AMC Stub member and you already seen Wicked and Red One and Gladiator 2 and Moana and all these other films, go check this out if you're a type of person that goes to the movies every weekend. But if you only can see one movie a month, do not waste your time here, because while the action is solid, it's not nothing you've never seen before. And while the world building is intriguing, the characters and everything they set up, I would love to see it move on compared to the rest of the Sony Spider-Man-less Spider-Man movies. Apparently this universe is dead in the water, so most likely everything that they set up here that I thought was cool is most likely not moving on anywhere. In the end, Kraven the Hunter is not a disaster. It's a solid, bloody good time at the theaters if you are in for like a rated R comic book bloody movie, but it's nothing that's going to be perfect or extraordinary or even great. With that said, I'm going to give Kraven the Hunter a C. Question of the day is, out of all these Spider-Man-less Spider-Man spin-off films, which one is your favorite? Drop your answers down below and watch more of my content right now.